And it's time for your Gianna Volpe report, brought to you in part by Michael Evans, author of The Real Matrix, available in your favorite bookstore and online, and by Maximus Health and Fitness, 130 East Main Street, Riverhead. Good morning, Gianna.
Good morning, Bruce. How are you?
I am well.
So later on in the show, we're going to have East Hampton supervisor Larry Cantwell on to talk about the interesting stuff that's going on out in Montauk. 5 arrests since Friday.
A lot of people are unhinged over the
it's basically
the beach protection program.
Right. It's basically moving a dune. Like they're cutting into a natural dune and then moving it.
And who's doing this project?
The Army Corps of Engineers.
How smart are they? Are they smarter than your average environmentalist wackadoodle sitting in Amagansett somewhere?
It's all. The whole thing is that it's all. There's so many sides to this.
Yeah.
You've got coastal scientists saying that it's just experimental, these geotextile bags filled with sand. Then you've got the 400 surfers that got together a few days ago and lined the beach in protest over the project. People saying that...
Kevin McAllister has an incredible quote in Newsday.
Oh, the Defend H2O that's in...
him.
Supreme Court.
He favors, and I'm quoting the Newsday piece, quote, McAllister said he favored a retreat policy of governments buying up vulnerable waterfront properties and returning them to nature, end of quote. In other words, let it all get washed away.
Yeah, or keep it, instead of building like high price tag homes.
Well, but think about this. The village of West Hampton Dunes was created because of Little Pike's Inlet after a storm 20-something years ago.
Mm-hmm.
In 1993, there was a massive beach restoration project done. Massive. Guess what? Unaffected by the storms we've had since. So if you do it right, it works. I respectfully submit that the Army Corps might have a little more on the ball than some surfer dude in Montauk. I want to go surfing. Stop!
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not Malibu, damn it.
I think that what's most interesting me about this whole thing is really what's behind the project, because I know that it was like, well, the Army Corps is pushing for this project, but other people are saying no, that's not true. Thomas Muse was saying that this was a closed-door deal, that this was a leftover from Bill Wilkinson's administration, and the Army Corps is saying, well, there's legal ramifications if we don't honor the contract we have with H&L Construction for like $8.4 million. I got that from East End Beacon, from our friend Beth Young. Well, anyway, that'll be later on in the program. In the meanwhile, I wanted to talk a little bit about Veterans Day.
Yeah, because you weren't here yesterday.
I was not. And also, the day before that, the 240th birthday of the Marine Corps, which is nothing to sneeze at.
I wonder if we have anybody with us who might be able to speak to those two things.
So we have Doug Tatore back with us. He was here last week. Good morning.
Good morning. Motivated good morning to all.
The motivator.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit, as a veteran Marine, what this week has been like for you.
Well, 10 November is the Marine Corps birthday. It was 240 this year. It's always a big day for us. It's a day of pride, of remembrance. It's mixed with happiness, memories, sadness. It's really just a whole lot of emotional turmoil, both good and bad, and you got everybody thanking you for your service, and some guys are okay with that, and some guys are shooting it down.
Right. How do you feel about that? Because I'm curious, and for those that are on the opposite side, that who don't like to get thanked. I mean, I've known veterans who have told me that every time someone says thank you for your service, I think about my brothers who did not make it, who are not here to celebrate this day with me. What's your take on all of it? And for those who are sort of, that it brings them back, what can people do better?
People can do better just by basically trying to understand, or just trying to maybe not empathize, but just sympathize with, what some of the guys are going through, with their families, with their brothers, with their past life experiences. People don't grasp the true meaning or understanding of these holidays. It's not just a day off. It's a day of remembrance. It's a day to honor those who protect our freedoms, that stand up for our oath, that stand up for, what this country is all derived from, and it's difficult to explain to most people the feeling or emotion, that veterans have, around this time, around July 4th, whatever the holiday, may be. But, what people can do is, the simple things, like you see a guy with a veteran hat on, you see a guy that's a Vietnam vet, like, I'm not telling you to, but every single one I walk past, I will go up and shake his hand. I don't care if he wants me to thank him, if he, likes it, doesn't like it, that's what I'm doing. And that's pretty much like, that makes me feel better to, tell this guy that, he means something, that he made a difference.
Right.
The interesting part about this whole thing is Marines particularly, you guys have a reputation of being remarkably, breathtakingly tough. Ice water runs through the veins. But I'm getting the distinct feeling that with Marines, with all veterans, there's a very hard exterior that protects a very soft inside.
Right.
That is so true. Not even to dive into this topic, but, I suffer with PTSD from my service. There are things, there's another side to, what we show the world, and, what we show ourselves and each other. There's a tremendous network out there now of like peer-to-peer groups where we can actually talk to other guys that are going through the same things, and pretty much allow those layers to unfold, instead of just having that hard exterior, we can't fail, where you have to ask permission to die. Like, it's it's all on that level of machismo, of alpha male, but underneath you're totally right. Like, it's I'd be the first one to admit, I cry, I have, that deep emotion, that tears me up between, pride and sadness and loss, and survivor's guilt, and, feeling like I didn't do enough because I'm still here, or, I have all my limbs, and, there's guys out there that are suffering, and, nobody cares, and it's sad.
And do you think that the failures, or it's obviously, it's arguable, but from just about anybody I've talked to, especially veterans, not enough is being done right now to address the real issue of post-traumatic stress in returning vets, or basically assimilating our veterans back into society. Do you think that has anything to do with the high re-enlistment rate?
Guys get out, and civilian reacclimation is probably the most difficult thing that we can ever do as veterans, because you go from this highly, motivated, structured system where
with a very close relationship with your brothers,
and there's consequences for all of your actions. There's parameters, there's protocol, there's laws that don't exist in the real world, but they exist in the in the Marine Corps world, in the veteran community, and the service community, that just they don't exist in the outside world. Like, not to say people don't have the same morals or standards or honor or code, but it's trained into you, it's embedded into you. You become something greater than yourself. That's what the biggest thing behind service is. It's service to your country, and it's service to the guy to the left and your right.
And then you come home, in the middle of the night, and you come back to this. I remember one person describing it as like a desert, that this is the desert. You come back and you are just a face in this sea of people that don't understand what you've done. People thank you for your service, but it's almost like out of guilt, and they don't really want to know the pain that you're going through, or what you've seen, what you've experienced. And
I think part of that also is because they can't relate to it at all. They have no concept of what, say, Doug went through, or any veteran in any war went through.
Right.
We have all that family who served in World War II or Korea or Vietnam. And all of those guys have unique experiences that only they or fellow servicemen and women can relate to. That's got to be hard, though, for a guy like you, Doug. And then you come over here, you come back home. God bless the VA. They finally are opening a facility with Peconic Bay Medical Center.
Oh, that's because of Lee Zeldin.
Lee Zeldin did that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great guy, Lee Zeldin, by the way.
I met him.
Amazing vet, great supporter.
I actually asked him. I remember seeing him in East Hampton and asking him how he felt about the programs that are offered to veterans and whatnot, and what he would like to see done in the future. And you know, he was talking about the Peconic Bay Medical thing, and that's great because that means that our East End veterans, they don't have to trek out to.
If they can't get health care within 30 days, or they live more than 40 miles from the VA facility, they can use Peconic Bay Medical Center.
That's huge. That is huge.
If they participate in that program. So Veterans Day came and went yesterday.
Yes, sir.
We had the usual parades. People hung their flags. There was, on this station anyway, certain patriotic songs that were played. We also played the armed services hymns, all 4 of them.
I sang mine to myself.
Did you?
Absolutely.
But now, my question, I guess, is when you see that, and you saw the president lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier, do you sit there and say to yourself, that's really cool, they remembered us, or, gee, is this assuaging your guilt?
It's certainly,
which emotion is it?
It's certainly both, and especially, not to get into the whole, political debate of the president, but most, I would be pretty much not off base at all to say that most veterans don't support the current president.
The current occupant of the White House?
Correct, sir. And, for me to see him lay a wreath it's more angering than anything else.
Why is that?
Because he is the commander-in-chief that is basically not waging war, but sending our soldiers and guys overseas to get killed or do whatever, and basically take advantage of his power, as the commander-in-chief. He does not have the full resources of the military. Congress does, and this man is basically, cutting off, the laws that were made to protect us from, a president that would have too much power and his whole.
But doesn't that sort of bring you back to 2001? I remember sitting in history class and waking up because somebody was talking about the war, and I woke up and I was like, what? There's a war? And everyone's like, Gianna, come on, the war on terror. And I was like...
Yeah, how do you have a war against a tactic, by the way?
I go, wait, Congress declared war? And nobody had an answer. They were like, no.
It never did.
It's the war on terror, Gianna, duh. And I was like, I'm the idiot here? There's... I don't remember Congress declaring war. I guess
they didn't.
Things are changing.
In 30 seconds or less, Doug, how the hell do you have a war on a tactic?
It's basically improbable and practical. It's they're using it as a tool to, and I'm not gonna go real right wing here, but to be able to control and monitor people, not just terrorists, but your average individual. We gave up so many rights with the Patriot Act.
Oh my God!
And
don't even.
You can't just do that. It's not possible. And even now, we're going. We have all these things going on in Syria, in Iraq, and people really don't know what's going on. And forgive my 30 seconds, but this isn't going to be over anytime soon. It's been going on for 5,000 years, and whether or not you want to say terrorism or not, it's a crusade against Christianity, and
Will we ever see the return of our civil liberties and our privacy? Do you think?
Well, you are starting to see some of that now with various court rulings that have ruled, as a matter of fact, that the government's metadata program on tapping your phone and finding out who you've spoken to.
Your GPS, all that good
all that stuff. That's apparently is a constitutional issue, which the courts are finding.
They're actually starting to say that?
Starting to say that. But the thing that strikes me with this is, and you put it best, in a weird way, we have no one to blame but ourselves, because we destabilized the Middle East by taking out Saddam Hussein.
We do it every time. We create
we have a way of just shooting the pooch.
We're very good at that. We're very good at creating enemies and then going in and destroying them. It's because it's the war. But it's the business of war.
I wanted to thank you for your service to this country.
That means the world. Thank you, Bruce.
Keeping my little sorry butt safe. Because Lord knows, I told you last week I was never in the service. I don't know, I know the business end of a gun and how to shoot one, but...
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we should go shooting.
I shot a handgun once.
Okay, then we should not go shooting.
Once.
I'm just kidding.
But I'm good with a rifle.
AR-15, that's where it's at.
On that note, we're going to hit the break.